Hello, hello, everyone. I'm Rosalinda Roman, and I'm here with AK Vias, also known as Ash, and this is Friends and Authors Live. This is our weekly live stream where we talk about all things as indie authors that we feel like talking about. And this week, I think it's a doozy. Hi, Ash. How are you?
Great, Rosalind. Yeah, I think we have a good show today.
Yeah. We have I titled it The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly Amazon Reviews. Because I think it goes with your genre, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I wish I had pulled up the sound effect. Dun, 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 dun. What is it? The
Yeah, yeah.
from the
It's like the
from the
most. I think
westerns.
it's the most widely recognized Western sound effect. I think,
Yeah,
or
and it's so appropriate because we were talking about, oh, what do we want to talk about this week? And then you brought up reviews, and I thought that is so perfect because it is absolutely important as an author, and particularly as an indie author. Reviews are the lifeblood of an author's success, really, because you could have the best book in the world, and if nobody, when you go to Amazon and you try to figure out which book you want to read, the first thing you're going to look at is, what do the reviews say? So it's really important. And by the way, if anyone's watching this and they've read either one of our books, or another author that you've read their books, please go write a review, because it really, 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 really matters. And there's also some like funny business when it comes to reviews, and that's what we're going to talk about today, right, Ash?
yeah. Well, there's definitely some funny business. I'm not sure if it's as easy to detect for an individual like us, but reviews are very, very important to the marketing process. Um, and obviously, there's the rating system, which is important, but the number of reviews, particularly for a new release or a new book, uh, is very helpful because if you think about it, like we're all consumers. So if you're trying to buy something on Amazon and you have two products and they both have a similar rating and one has 5 reviews and one has 1,000 reviews, most of us are going to think, okay, I'm probably going to spend my money on the one with more street credibility, whatever you want to call it. Uh,
Yeah.
and that's why reviews are very important. And Amazon's recently changed some of their methodology about allowing reviews. Like for example, somebody has to have spent at least $50 in the past 12 months on Amazon to leave a review. And some of the stuff is frankly ridiculous. Some of the changes they've made. For example, if they feel someone's read a book too quickly, they may not allow the review, right?
Oh, interesting.
So
Well, then they
they
haven't
track
met my
they track.
mom.
So let's
Because
say,
she can read a book
you know,
like one of my book size, for example, a normal, or your book size. Like, she'll read that book in one day, and for me, it's like, a year. But but yeah, people read very quickly. Some people.
yeah. Well, they've had a lot of changes and stuff. Some folks have complained they've had reviews removed. For the most part, I've been unaffected by it, but it changes. Like I think I don't use ARC readers, but for folks to use that, I think there's some changes there that they should address. I think a lot of stuff, but basically, as an introduction, reviews are, if anything, more important than they were before. And just be advised, Amazon's changed the way they count them and measure them and basically manage them.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So I think, like, I know we have some visual aids to share some of your experiences with reviews, and I was gonna first mention that when I so I've had my books out, my thrillers, for 16 months or something like that. And when I first started releasing these books, the very first thing I said to my husband is, I cannot read my reviews. I know myself, having been in the broadcasting business. You can get 100 calls of people telling you how great that you're their favorite news anchor and reporter, and it's that one person that calls and says, you're an idiot, that stays with you, right? And so I recognized early on that there was no benefit to me to actually read my own reviews. Now, that is not to say that I don't benefit from reviews, because there are the occasional reviews that are super helpful, like, hey, for me, example, real life thing that happened. Hey, did you know that you're missing chapter 26 in one of your books? Like, that is very helpful if somebody tells you that. But if somebody tells you, I just don't like the way, I don't like her name, or I don't like, something that is nothing to do with your book, and gives you a low rating, that hurts you. And it's just like, it doesn't help me. There's no benefit. It's not helping the reader. It's not writing to the reader and saying, hey, this is why I didn't care for this book, or whatever. It's just, a lot of times people will go in and just give a star rating and not an actual review.
Right. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. But some of the best information you can get, some of the best feedback you can get. I think, one of our mentors, a very successful author, has said that, the 3-star review is the 3-star reviews are probably the most telling. And that's supposed to be good. I think 4 stars,
I'm
excellent,
gonna,
5 is
I
outstanding.
think that's true in general, but there's actually, I would say now, with this, okay, I'm going to show you on my, hang on, let me show you my reviews. I pulled them up. I agree with you. If somebody goes in and gives you a thoughtful 3-star review and explains something about it and what they don't like about it, right? That's super helpful. But if they do this, which I'm going to show you in Death Wound. So this is my, my thriller series, the 5 books and I pulled up the first one. So it's got 93 reviews here on Amazon and 4.3 stars, which is very good. But then you go down here and you go, well, let's see. There's 1% of the people said it's a 1-star book, which is just like, trash. So you click on it to see, oh, what is the 1 star? Sorry, no reviews matching your current selections. So the 1 star was just somebody clicking 1 star. The 2-star, again, just somebody clicking 2 stars. And the 3-star, same thing. It's 11%. So there's a few of them, and none of them left a review. So to your point, if any of those people, if they are actual people is the question, if any of those people actually found something about the book that they thought needed improvement enough that it needed a 3-star review, and they had written that would have been helpful to me, or to the reader at least, right? But those are all just stars, and so we don't know what they didn't like about it. We don't know if they're actual people. But you do make a good point, and I know the point you're making is
Yeah,
not the same as that.
no, so yeah, we can get more into it, but the one thing I would say is, in a way, if you think about it, a 1-star per review, um, it's nice if they say something that's helpful and productive that you can learn from, but it also adds credibility to the product, because if you think about it, if something has, 105-star reviews and no 2 and 1-star reviews, then it seems too good to be true, right? It
Mm.
doesn't seem like real, right? So you don't want 31-star reviews. Clearly, then you're probably doing something wrong. But a couple here and there, I mean, I think that's normal. And if you go through, I don't know, what do we think the 5 best books of all time are? You'll go through and look at, they all have 1 and 2-star reviews, and some of them are just silly, right?
Yeah,
So
that's true. That's
it's kind
very
of
true.
like, sometimes it's warranted, and sometimes it's just people, being rude. Like, people are rude to wait staff in restaurants or hotels, or things like that, right? But I
Mhm.
have some insight on that, which I can go to, which kind of, I can just tell you that I disagree with you on the value of the reviews. I pretty much, I don't look at all of them all the time, but I do go look through once a week and look through the reviews and see if there's anything I can glean from it. Um, maybe I'm my proclivity is balanced, in that the nice ones, I tend to value a lot more than you know um, the negative ones, and
That's nice.
so far there's more. Hopefully that stays. But they're both useful in their own way, and um, once again, that same mentor that we both share, he put it the way he explained it to me is basically the way I go about thinking about it, which I'm going to share. Um, and that puts things into perspective for me and allows me to comb through the reviews and not be affected by it. I will say though that at least for me, and I think you'd agree in the cases for most authors, the whole it's not personal, it's business. That's a load of malarkey. If you write a book, you're putting your heart and soul into that book. I mean, if you read all my books, you know who I am. If you read all,
Yeah.
you have a pretty good idea of the kind of person I am if you read all my books,
Yeah.
all my,
Same.
so it is personal. I mean, you put your art out into the world, and hey, not everybody's going to like it. Different strokes for different folks. That's totally fine. But there's a way that I was taught to look at reviews and deal with reviews that works for me, and I think it might help other people as well.
Okay. Should we go through it?
Yeah, sure, sure.
Awesome.
Okay, so first I'll tell you a really quick story, and then we'll go into a couple of examples, and I think we'll have an interesting discussion from that point.
All right. I'm ready. I'm excited.
Okay. So, could you put the Monolete image up, please?
Okay. Manolete is up.
Okay. So now they made a movie about this guy with a ruggedly good-looking Hollywood actor. The guy that everyone thinks is European, but he's actually American. The guy from the piano, or I forget
Oh yeah.
who he is. But they
I forget his
you know what I'm talking
name.
about. They kind of looks like this, right? But he's
It's
yeah.
yeah.
But
Is it
anyway,
Roberto Benini? No.
no. It's a modern actor.
Okay.
You'll know. He's in a lot of modern. He's in a lot of current stuff.
Okay.
So anyway, Monolete is known as Spain's greatest bullfighter, even
Okay.
even to this day. And the thing about I know bullfighting isn't very popular these days, but it's less about bullfighting than kind of the mindset that he developed. And you know, there's more to a book than its cover, right? So a lot of people will think of bullfighting and just completely turn off. But if you consider the circumstances, so he grew up dirt poor, illiterate in Spain, and
Okay.
the reason he went into bullfighting was he was trying to prevent his sisters from having to go into prostitution,
Oh wow.
right? So so I mean he it was the only way he thought he could make money. Now bullfighters, the way bullfighting works is the bull figures out in about 15 minutes it's supposed to hit the man. And in the meantime, there's a whole kind of it's very regimented number of passes they're supposed to do with different sized capes to show that if they're fair about it, and the crowd knows everything, the rules. It's almost like orchestrated. If the guy is brave and gives the bull a chance, they cheer for him because it takes a lot of courage to do that. But if he's just kind of going through the motions or kind of cheating and like trying to save himself, they do that too. The crowd knows they throw tomatoes at him and that sort of
Okay.
thing. So but most of these guys are, yeah, that's the guy. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
it's Adrian Brody. Adrian Brody.
Adrian Brody, right? Which,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, and you look at some of the stuff, and it's most of these bullfighters are handsome guys. I don't, and they're very graceful, kind of athletic guys. Monolithe was none of that. I mean, I don't know that if I could judge how handsome another guy is, but his reputation was not. He wasn't. He wasn't. He was illiterate. He was not particularly well spoken. But the one thing that he did, and the one thing he could control, was he was brave. And he would basically tell people what he was going to give them, and he delivered it every time. And he basically would tell them, and this is the hardest thing to do. is once I set my feet, I am not going to move my feet until that bull is past me, come hell or high water. And that takes a lot of courage to do. And people said, um, ultimately that's going to get him killed someday. Uh, and but he was just respected for telling people what he was going to deliver and delivering it and being very, very brave. And there's something about him, like, obviously we're not in that circumstance. We have much easier lives than him. But about being in the arena, putting yourself out there for the world to watch, trying to do your art. And every once in a while, what would happen is because these bull rings are windy and stuff, the wind would knock the cape out of his hand, and then he's defenseless. And most bullfighters would, do what most normal people would do is run, try to run and jump over the side of the fence before the bull tags you. He would never do that. And people would ask him, like, why did you sit there and take it? Why didn't you even try to run? And he's like, the people pay a lot of money to see a bullfight. They don't pay to see me run. Right. So, uh, you could call it stoic, you could call it brave, but
I could
that
call
to
it a
me
couple
is
of
kind
other
of like,
things
well,
too.
sure, sure, but it is not cowardly, right?
Right.
That's the one thing you could not call, you could not consider it.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
um, and and he was beloved for this because he that's just what he did, and ultimately it cost him his life. He was killed by a bull in the ring, doing this. But in a way, like, that's kind of the thing that I think of. Once again, we have a much easier life than that. But you know, if they pay for my book, they have the right to say what they want, and I just have to better myself for the most part, right? So that's kind of spiritually how I think about it. Um, and it's actually helpful in that it kind of releases you from a lot of that because you basically say, it's on me. Okay. I mean, maybe I can learn, maybe I can write a better book, but it's on me, as opposed to saying, oh, this person's whatever they are all the time, which is the
Right.
easy thing to do. Um, but yeah, so if you're in the arena and things go bad, and you're self-reliant, and I think it helps with criticism and reviews and adversity.
I like this attitude. Yeah, that you basically are, and I think this is true. I think we both apply this in life, that I take personal responsibility. What is my part in this, right? My part is to write the best book that I can, to learn from my mistakes, learn from other people who can share, who can see things differently than I see things. So they're reading my book differently than I'm reading my book, or my mom is reading my book, hopefully. Like the having an outside person who maybe doesn't know you and shares their opinion. First of all, you're being brave. You're the person, you're Manolete in the arena, putting your work out there, right? And then, you know let it come, I guess, is kind of what you're talking about.
Exactly, exactly, and it's not so much about bullfighting; it's just people in dangerous, adverse situations trying to create art, right?
Interesting.
And
It's a good
um,
analogy.
so that's kind of spiritually how I think about it. And then now I'll give you what our mutual mentor gave me, showed me, and I'll duplicate it for us. And this is really what. So I gave you kind of the spiritual kind. And now this is the practical way I go about looking at reviews. And we'll
Okay.
have three. We'll have a good one. Well, a good one for me, a positive one, right? One that wasn't so positive, and one that I think is priceless. And I'll show you what I mean about, like, the practical way that I use to look at reviews.
All right. Let's go.
So let's start. Let's be optimists and start with the happy one first.
All right. Can
Okay.
I read it, or do you want to read it?
So sure. Go ahead.
So this is a customer review. Awesome read, 5 stars. I loved the humor and the reality of life. I had a hard time putting the book down. if my mama was still alive, I would share this with her and she would have loved it.
Yeah. So, for me, this was touching, right? Because it's always great to get a 5-star review and for someone to appreciate your work. When she mentions, her mother and her mother's passed, and she would have shared it with her. I mean, some of the positive reviews you get are just unforgettable, right? I had one where a grandmother wrote me that her granddaughter was in the hospital for a week having bone surgery, her young granddaughter, and like the Eagle Feather Saga got her through it. She read like all 4 books over the course of the week. So stuff like that, you never forget,
Wow.
right?
Yeah, that's priceless for sure.
You know, um, but so okay, so this is an example of a positive review. Okay, so here's the thing: you can't respond to an Amazon review. Okay, um, but what you can do is you see where the little figure is, the gray where the face would be if the reviewer had their face. If
Yeah.
you click on that, what'll come up
Hmm.
is all of this person's reviews on Amazon.
Okay.
Okay.
Like this.
So this screen here is what pops up when you click on the person who left that profile, and you see all of her reviews. Okay. And so she has, um, 20, what, see, 5, she has a bunch of reviews, right?
Yeah.
25 reviews here. Okay.
Hmm.
Or no, 20
Yeah.
reviews. And do you notice a pattern? Okay, so out of these 20 reviews, right, how many are 4 or 5 stars?
Yeah. Most of them are 4 or 5. And then there's a few like this one, the quality was lacking, but didn't
Yeah,
go
okay, so,
into
so
like,
she's not,
they
it's
weren't
not like,
nasty.
yes, yeah, it's not like she's an irrational optimist or something. Like there's stuff she didn't like, she marks down, she gives stuff. But for the most part, what I've learned is reviews more often than not are an indicator of the level of happiness of the reviewer with their life,
That's so true. That's so true. Oh,
right? So I mean, obviously, I'd like to think my book was, worthy of a 5-star from this lady, but whether it was or wasn't, I mean, there wasn't anything there that I could glean I mean, I was touched that she mentioned her late mother and she would wanted to share it with her. But overall, I have found this to be true 80% of the time. People who leave good reviews, 4 or 5-star reviews, generally leave good 4 or 5-star reviews and are generally happy people in life for
yeah.
whatever reason.
Interesting.
So it's not a function of me so much as more function of them. As even
So
though I
interesting.
take responsibility for the work. Okay. So now the other end of the spectrum. Okay.
Okay.
So the next review is what we call someone who was not happy. Right. So okay.
Nothing
So
like Clan of the
just
Cave Bear. This is a 2-star review. It advertised that if you read Clan of the Cave Bear, then you would like this one. Not true. This is poorly written with little or no history tie-ins or history of the time. Very boring book. I have read this book. They are full of baloney.
well, I mean, there's 1,400 plus people who disagree with her, but it's a free country. She's entitled to her opinion, and hey, if I earned this 2-star review from her, at least it wasn't a 1, right?
Uh-huh.
But it could be a number of things. So one of the things that we do with Facebook ads is people need a context, right? Like living in Europe, if I tell people, oh, my friend Rosalinda's got this they have this lovely house out in Mexico with X number of acres on it, people in Europe are like, well, what's an acre? And I'm like, oh, it's about the size of a soccer field. And they're like, oh, okay, that's an acre. So for the rest of their life, anybody says acre, they know exactly what it is, right?
Mhm.
So when you're advertising your books, especially when you're a new author, it's a great idea to give them some sort of comp or some sort of book that it's, genre similar to. Now, the Eagle Feather Saga is prehistoric fiction, right? So there aren't a ton of prehistoric fiction novels out there, caveman days, that sort of thing. Clan of the
Right.
Cave Bear was a very successful series by Gene M. Alb. Actually made it into a movie with Daryl Hannah, I think, in like the 80s.
Hmm.
So basically, a lot of folks who've read the Eagle Feather say, it reminds them of Clan of the Cave Bear, or they come, because it's the
It's in
same
the same
genre.
genre. Yeah.
It's the same genre, and it's not a very prevalent genre in terms of a lot of people aren't writing
Hmm.
prehistoric fiction, right?
Right.
So, I'll put that on my Facebook ads, like if you liked, an actual reader review. If you liked Clan of the Cave Bear, this series is for you, or you might enjoy this series. But some people, she may just not have liked the book. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
Or she may have been like, oh well, Clan of the Cave Bear was something I really liked. Nothing compares to that, right?
That
So
could be. Yeah.
either way, it's totally fine, right? But applying the same methodology, okay, let's look at the rest of her reviews. Okay, so
Junk.
she's got
Junk. It's junk.
yeah, she's got these are 5 reviews. She's only done 5 reviews. At best, she's given someone 3 stars, and 3 of the 5s, um, are right.
Wow. So I actually feel like relative to what the reviews that she gave, you were, you're high.
Yeah, I had the second highest review that she's.
Right.
But my point once again is it's not about me so much as I'd like it to be. Like all of us have egos. You need egos to write books and publish them for the world to judge.
Right.
But to me, Rosalinda, this is not a happy person, right? Like, look at, you know,
There's a lot of energy spent
right?
being, responding to things that didn't work. But where's all the see, if this was a balanced one where there was 5 of these, but also, 10 things that this person did like, that would be much more balanced. But in this case,
Yeah,
it does feel like it's overwhelmingly
sure.
negative. Yeah, yeah. Interesting. That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
I
So,
wish I had the opportunity though, and this goes back to we actually have a comment in the let's see the question which we did talk about before. What about ratings without a comment? Right, and that's the problem that I'm having, and I think that comes more because I gave my books away for free. And so what I end up with is a number of people who just got the book for free and were not necessarily, either they got the book for free and it wasn't their genre, which is possible, and they just gave it a negative review. But, luckily there's enough reviews that I'm like, well, it's not, everybody's not saying that, because the people that wrote reviews, they're very positive, fast paced read, intense, interesting. Even the 4 stars are positive, so I wish I had the opportunity, like you're talking about, to be able to look at, even if they put a star like this, they put 3-star reviews. I wish it would give us the list of who those people were, right? That it should be as publicly available as the people who took the time to write the name, the details of what they thought, because otherwise it feels to me it's hard to take that seriously when you see 11, 2, and 1% of the people put a star but didn't say anything. That makes it a lot less valuable to the reader, a lot less valuable if their goal is to help us become better. Maybe it isn't, maybe it's to make us not make any more books. I don't know. But to me, I wish I had that opportunity to go through and say, oh, okay, this person who gave me the 1-star review, they gave everybody 1-star reviews, but it's anonymous, which I wish Amazon would fix
yeah,
that.
it's well, I think there's 2 things. That one, some of those things I think are just bots, right? The
Right.
other
It
thing
should not be
is to
allowed,
leave a
right?
review. sure, but it's up to Amazon to police that, right?
But that's what I'm
And
saying. I think
there,
Amazon, I wish Amazon would go and change that and at least not weigh it as much as a review that somebody took the time to write. Even if the person said this is not Clan of the Cave Bear, at least they took the time to write.
sure, and so I would say two more things to that. One, um, you have to write a certain number of words for a review, because I've had reviews where people are like, they write the review like, this was a great book, word, need one more word, right? So some people may not want to actually write like the two sentences that required because they don't, for whatever reason, they don't want to write them or they don't want to take the time. So they may just leave a
Sure.
rating. Sometimes it's not people as well, right? So it
Yeah.
could be, but the thing once again, and is Amazon does not care about you or me or any of the authors. What Amazon doesn't
Right.
want is to get sued for a fraudulent product where like there was 15,000 5-star reviews that turn out to be like some review farm in China,
Right.
and
Which is
they
very
don't care
valid.
about.
That's actually very valid.
Right. So they don't care. I mean, in their methodology, from an author's perspective, it's like, well, you penalize my reviews that are too good to be true, or that like, oh, someone loved my book and read it in like an hour and gave a review, but you don't penalize the ones that are the 2 minutes after the launch, a 1-star drive by, uh, with no explanation, right? So
Right.
Amazon's Amazon,
Exactly. But I think it
right?
goes back to
So
what you said earlier of if you just, it's kind of like stay in our lane. If you just, the Matador guy, you stand where you stand and you hold that ground and you accept that I cannot control the 1, 2, or even, drive by 3-star reviews. I can't control that. I can control what I glean from. By the way, I said that I don't read my reviews. My husband reads my reviews and he shares with me when there's relevant information that might be helpful. So it's not that I'm not, don't value them. I highly, highly value them. I just know myself and I'm too sensitive. I think you have a little bit thicker skin than I do.
no, I just um, I I just think the information is valuable, and it doesn't matter if you do it your way or the way I do it, but there is information to be gleaned from it, and I think that leads us to what I call the last example we have, which is the precious review or the priceless review. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm. And I read that now. Okay.
yeah.
Eagle Feather, volumes 1 through 3. This is a 4-star review. I liked the first volume best. The second was too much violence and dying and not enough about love. The third volume was better with more family life, love, and less bloody fighting. I wish he would have written more on surviving and hunting and gathering. Why do you call this a priceless review?
Okay. So this is a box set review for the first 3 books of the Eagle Feather, and this is priceless because I don't think I've gotten better feedback on a series anywhere than this review. Because if you think
Interesting.
about it, like we're all subject to our bias, right? Like I'm a knuckle dragging guy, right? And so I think like, a knuckle dragging guy. And if you ask me what's the best thing I've ever written of all the books I've published, I will say the second book of the Eagle Feather Saga, which is basically, boys on a really dangerous mission. And they're in a really tough situation. But I know that based on sales and Facebook, the demographics of this series, which is my most successful series and the one that makes most of the money I make from self-publishing, most of them are women um, who, middle-aged women, educated middle-aged women in the States. And so going back to what we talked about on the last show, book one, the Eagle Feather, has a lot of Storge in it. Okay, and she
Mhm.
responded she represents the majority of my readers. whether she knows it or not, but she is. Book two had less Storge and a lot more Philia, right? A lot more camaraderie, a lot more brutal situations, which I thought, yeah, but I'm not my target audience. She is.
Right. Right. Which,
Book
by the
three
way,
was more.
if someone's watching who doesn't know what you're talking about, we did an episode 2 back on the C.S. Lewis and the take on different forms of love within writing a novel or within in general. But you can go back 2 episodes and see what he's talking about with Storge and all of that.
But you follow me, Rosalinda, because you know the
Yeah,
methodology, right? So
yeah,
so in book three, what she said about book three was there was actually more of a family aspect. There was a bit of Eros, a lot more story. There was action. So what that tells me is, I mean, she was kind enough to leave a 4-star review, but she told me exactly like, and she is my reader, right?
right.
That the book four, book five that I'm working on right now, I'm dialing up the story in it and toning down
Nice.
some of the action because my audience isn't military guys who like action for this series, right?
Hmm.
So
That's so
this
interesting.
review, this review told me exactly, which of the four elements that I look at all my stories in that format now, I need to accentuate for this series,
That's
going,
so
for
great.
the remainder of the books in this series.
I can see why you call that priceless, because really, if you can get an idea of what to do more of and an idea of what to do less of, or, or what, even to the extreme, if there's something that's really killing the series, people can learn a lot from that. You don't have that. Obviously, the reviewer loved the series, is eager for the next, but that's why that's so helpful, because you can carry that into the future work that you're working on.
Yeah, she elucidated her preferences, and her preferences were basically more Storgy, uh, and less Philia. And I was so off on that because I still maintain that the second book of that series is the best thing I've ever written. But her opinion matters more because she's representative of the reader demographic for that series. Right.
So interesting. I had another question about reviews and something I was going to bring up, but my brain lost it. But yeah, it's just the whole process is so interesting, and I think it is the unique thing as an author or any art form where you're able to communicate directly with, or at least one step away. It's like 1 degree separation from your reader. You're not actually talking directly to them, but they're able to share their ideas and feedback about your work, and then you get to decide what you do with it. And in this case, you're deciding from that review how you can make it better. And I think that's the mark of a successful indie author, or author in general, is you looking at it. You're not necessarily doing it for yourself. There may be a series you write just for your type of person, for, as you say, knuckle dragging, guys. But when you're recognizing the value of the people that you're actually writing for, that's a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful relationship if we can get it. So I love it.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
that's the way I think about it. And hopefully, the reviews tell you more about the reviewer 9 out of 10
Mhm.
times. And
Yeah,
and
for
if
sure.
and if they actually leave you something actionable, like this lady did here, it's priceless. Um,
Yeah.
for the rest of her work.
Yeah. So if anyone's watching this and you have read our books, or you have an author that you've read their books and you love them, please write a review. People really, it makes such a difference. And for each book or for the series, if you do that, it really helps other people find the books, because that's really the way that people find things now. Ultimately, you look at the reviews and you say, that looks interesting. It looks like something I would like to read. So yeah, please go do that. And thank you guys. Thank you everyone for being here watching Friends and Authors Live. Is there anything else you want to add, Ash, before we wrap it up?
No, I'm just happy to be here, and God bless air conditioning. That's all I would
Oh,
I would say at this point.
Yeah, it makes me very grateful that I'm in New Mexico at 7,500 feet, where I don't really need AC right now, but everyone else does apparently.
Yeah,
All
just
right. Well,
for those
thanks
of you who don't
again.
know, Europe's
Yeah,
had
go
like,
ahead.
yeah, Europe's just had the hottest heat wave ever. It's been 100. It's going to be 115 degrees next week, and there's no air conditioning anywhere.
Ugh,
So
it's so brutal.
you're definitely aware of the environment.
Yeah. No, thank you. All right. Well, good luck with writing in that environment. And we will see everybody this time next week here on Friends and Authors Live. Stay cool, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everyone.